Curious about the digital world? Want to know how to stay safe online? Tune in to CyberSense, where we explore the latest tech trends and cybersecurity tips.
Hey everyone, welcome to CyberSense Season 2, Episode 2. I am your host, Rob Holloway. I am joined by my co-host, Mike Marr. Did I get it right?
Hey, you did. You got it right. Yeah, I'm so proud of you.
I know. I'm really happy. I'm excited. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about some cool stuff. Last week, we talked about, training models and learning and how do you get into cybersecurity. And we promised that we would talk about TryHackMe and Hack the Box. There are so many options out there, but these two are free. Kinda like everything you can pay. And if you pay, you get more, right? But they are free, and the idea behind this is they they want you to buy their premium and all this stuff. We'll get into that in a second. I'm diverging already. We're also going to talk about some news. There's some crazy stuff out there. If you are an iPhone user, watch out. There is a cool one out there that is terrifying if you are on older versions of software. I will talk about that in just a minute. Mike is going to talk about some scary stuff. He has not told me much about it because he wants to surprise me, I think. Is that right, Mike?
Sure. Yeah, I want to blindfold you.
Blindside or blindfold? I mean, we're talking about another podcast there, aren't we? That's our later one.
Cybersecurity After Dark.
Oh my God. If you're interested in that, do not email us. I don't want those emails. So the website's up as we told last week. It is cybersense.cloud. You can email us on info@cybersense.cloud. I'm going to set up one for Mike because I haven't done that yet because I'm just lazy, like everyone else. So, yeah.
You don't want me to have friends. I'm more popular than you.
It's actually true. I was telling some friends about this, and one guy was like, he thought that I was you, Mike. He goes, "Oh, wow, that's what you look like." And I'm like, in an online community, I'm like, "I'm the dude with the hat." And he goes, "Oh." I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks, man."
I've always had a face for radio, though.
Shame about the voice. Oh, anyway, we're gonna get straight into this. Okay, sorry, Mike. I love you, really. Okay, Mike, you still there? Hello. Oh, yeah. All right, so I'm going to jump into my news. So this one is a biggie. This is a biggie if you're an iPhone user. If you're Android, you can probably just walk away going, whatever. It sucks to be you, iPhone users. I've always loved Android, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so iPhones or Apples have touted themselves as having a fantastic security, which they do. Okay, let's not beat around the bush one. They are. They've got good security, and the way they do that is they control the software that goes on their machines. Right, they control the software, the hardware. So they go, right, if you want to have an app on our machine, unless you jailbreak it, which we can talk about in a minute, you have to submit your software and your code to Apple to review it before it goes on their app store, right? Hey, Mike, that's pretty good. Google, not so much, the Google Play Store. But so that's why, typically in the past, Android was more vulnerable. But this is one that's out now, and it is called Dark Sword. It's not a Dungeons & Dragons game. This is straight up called Dark Sword. Mike, you've probably heard about this, haven't you?
I've heard of it, but I don't want to ruin your thunder.
Yeah. So it is an exploit kit, and it is designed to steal your data from your phone, specifically sensitive data, right? So it just jumps in there. Think of it like a little gremlin that jumps onto your phone and goes, no, I'm going to steal all your stuff. If you're Bitcoin mining and you've got a crypto wallet and you're like, yes, I have my millions. If only I could remember the passcode. And you suddenly remember it. You're like, yes, I'm in my wallet. Yay. And if Dark Sword is on there, it's going, yay, me too. So it takes it all, right? But it doesn't just do financial stuff. It takes everything from your machine, right? So it can sit there, it can listen, it do all sorts of stuff. It is a exploitation kit. Okay, that's the key thing right there. It does a lot of stuff. If it was just like a data miner, it would be called that. It is called a kit for a reason. There is a lot that it can do. We're not going to go into the full details of it. If you really want to do it, jump on the Apple Security Forum, dig into it yourself. But know this. Simply put, it is bad. It is bad, because that thing gets on your machine, on your iPhone, and there ain't nothing you can do about it if you're running the lower versions. It will just do what it wants. So, who's using it? Lots of people probably, but majority at the moment is a group known as, this is a really cool name, TA446. Cool.
Is that Elon Musk's kid?
No. So these guys are thought to be state-sponsored, okay? So they're serious. These are serious guys. They have ties to Russia, so these are going to be proper hackers, okay? The real deal. So you're probably wondering, why does a massive state-sponsored group actually care about me? Well, they're using it as spear phishing campaigns, and what they're doing is they're targeting government, finance companies, law firms, universities, etc. Basically anyone they want. There's a perfect example of a opposition leader who is, in Russia, and he got targeted by this, right? Of course. Why not? Why would you target these people? You want their information. You want to sow discord and discontent, right? You want to get in there and mess with people. That's what state-sponsored hackers do. They are after a goal that will benefit the state. Okay? That's simply it. They're either stealing secrets for the state or they're messing with people. This tool allows you to do both. Because think about it. If, let's say, for example, you're in a government position and you have some compromising photos on your phone, perhaps you and someone who's not your wife or husband or whatever, and it's like, oopsie daisy, you get some compromising messages. Well, these guys have it too, and then they give you a call and go, hey, we want you to pass that bill or scupper that bill that's going through the process at the moment. And that dude might, lady or guy might go, no, I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, you are, unless you want everyone to know about what you get up to, So that's it. Blackmail, really good one. Financial gain, blackmail, messing with people, just doing all kinds of bad stuff, or just information hunting, right? So how are they doing it? Pretty straightforward. It's very clever, but also really straightforward. They're doing what's called spear phishing campaign. So on this episode, we've talked about this. Mike, what do we always say in this show?
Only click the link if I send it to you.
Yeah, exactly. Aside from that, don't click the link. Don't click any link Mike sends you. But so that's what they're doing. They're doing spear phishing, and spear phishing is different to a normal phishing. So normal phishing is what they do what's called spray and pray. Okay, so they just send millions and millions and millions of emails out and hope someone will click the link. It's working on the law of averages. Spear phishing though is targeted. They know about you. They know a little bit about their target. They know who you are. They get it from social media. They get it from press releases, websites, all this sort of stuff. They're gathering this information and they're targeting you. So we've talked about this in campaigns where they may, let's say you like kitty cats, right? And they know you like kitty cats, and they know that you're a member of some massive, amazing online cat group. And they might send you an email looking like it's from that cat group saying, hey, we're all having a meetup and we really love all your contributions, so we want you to talk. There's the hook right there. It's like, we love you. Come. And it's just click this link and register, which is exactly what these guys are doing. They are inviting people to talks and symposiums and stuff like this, and they're saying, click the link to register. This is not unusual if you're in academia, right, or any field. You get invited to talk, especially if you're elite at that field. Now, this is the cool thing about this one, and what these guys are doing. They have a way of detecting when you click that link if you're coming from an iPhone. So that's how they're catching security researchers who are not using an iPhone to do it, right? Sorry?
That's interesting.
It's clever, right? So if you're not coming from an iPhone, it redirects you to a dummy PDF, a nothing, a fake. But if you're coming from an iPhone with the particular version that's vulnerable, you get redirected to download the dark sword. And it comes onto your, it automatically comes on. As soon as you click that link, boom, it's on your machine. There is nothing you can do. It is seconds. And if it's exfiltration it's after, boom, your data, depending on how fast your internet is on your phone, if you're in the middle of nowhere and it's really crap, it might take them ages. But generally these days, people are on 5G, 4G. It is gone, man. It gets in there and takes everything, right?
Yeah, and I suppose they do it. They do it in order of preference. So, like your credentials are the first things to go.
Everything. It's really up to them how they do it, right? This sort of stuff is edited. So yeah, maybe it's credentials, maybe it's photos, whatever they're targeting in that individual, they'll have it coded to just go off and do it, right? This is what's scary about this stuff. It's not hours, days, weeks, months. This is seconds. You click that link and you are screwed. It's not where normally, in the past you click the link and it's like, okay, shut it down, put it in airplane mode, we can clean it up. It's like, nah, man, before you've even thought, oh shit, I shouldn't have clicked that link. Too late.
But it's also still not too late turn off the phone. If it happens to be a corporate device, get in contact with your help desk, all that.
Of course, yeah. Definitely do all that. But I've got to...
Do not freeze up. Do not just sit there looking at it going, oh my God, my pretty kitty pickies are all over the internet. Do something about it.
That's true. That's a good point. Mike's actually spot on there. Yeah, definitely do all of what Mike said there. Good advice. So what's Apple doing about this? Okay, so let's be honest, right? We're going, oh my God, what's somebody think of the children? Well, Apple is. Go Apple. I'm not sponsored by Apple. I actually just think they've done a really cool thing in this one. So what they've done is they have taken a huge step here, okay? They have gone out and they are sending lock screen alerts to people running older versions of their software, and they're warning about this. So there's another one that's been out, what's it called? Hang on, I'll look it up. It's kind of scary. It's, what's it called? It is Karuna Exploit Kit. Karuna. That's been around for a while, okay? Karuna has been floating about for a good while now. But what they're doing is they're saying, okay, enough is enough. If you are running an older iPhone, you need to fix this. And they're now telling you. So on your lock screen, an Apple message will come up like it does for your updates and that sort of stuff. And it's saying, hey, you are at risk. Update now. And that's what they're saying. They're saying, update now. Now, this is important. I know I'm talking a million miles an hour here, but I'm trying to cram a lot in because we've got a time limit. But this is the important bit, okay? This hack, not the other one, but Dark Sword targets iOS versions, iPhone, by that, I mean, this is what these are targeting, 18.4, between 18.4 and 18.7. So it's quite a narrow, right?
And that's enough, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So that's quite specific as well as, so older ones, it's not going to work on, But don't worry, they've got you covered for the older one. They've got that one I said a minute ago, which I'm struggling to pronounce. So I'm not even going to try again. But if you're running an older version, update now. And if you can't, so some people run ancient pieces of software, which is absolutely fine, right? And you can't update because it's just not able to handle it. What do you do then? You set fire to it and watch the pretty flames. No. If your iPhone's too old and you can't do the update, Apple have this thing called lockdown mode. And that's actually what they're recommending to do for this, okay? But it is extreme. It will basically make your phone nothing more than one of those old school flip phones, okay? So it's available for iPhone iOS 16 or later. If you're running less than that, throw your phone away. I'm sorry, it is really risky. You are putting yourself more at danger by having that old-ass iPhone than just going out and getting a Nokia. One of the old Nokia bricks, because that will be more protective than what you've got if you're running iOS 16, below iOS 16. But anyway, kicking this in, it heavily restricts, sorry, I'm reading off my script here because this is important. I want to follow this. It heavily restricts applications, websites, and features on your phone. So basically, it blocks everything. It blocks most messaging attachments. So if someone goes, hey, look at this pretty kid, blah, blah, blah. No. Not going to come in. You're not going to get that. You're just going to get basic text. And they'll be like, look at this attachment. And you're like, what attachment? Look at this photo. What photo? Not going to work. It blocks unknown FaceTime calls. It limits web technologies. So most websites are going to break. In fact, I'd say, most modern websites will not work under this. So here's the teachable moment. If you want to do this, here's how to enable it. So listen up if you're running this ancient software. Go settings, privacy and security, and in there is called lockdown mode. Click on that and enable it. That will protect you. So even if you don't want to upgrade from 18.4 or whatever you're on to the latest, do that. If you're not going to, if you are running between 18.4 and 18.7 and you're not going to upgrade to the latest software, do this, because otherwise you're at risk. Because it's only a matter of time before scammers pick up on this and start running it as well, right? They probably already have. This came out earlier this week. So this is now Sunday, 29th of March. We're recording this. This will go live tomorrow, Monday. So yeah, this is actively exploited, people. You need to patch for this. So it's very scary. If you're an iPhone user. If you're an Android user, you're probably dancing on your little jig right now going, I told you so, I told you so.
Now, unfortunately, Android is just going to turn around and go, oh, that sounds really cool. Let's copy that idea as well.
Absolutely. I'm sure there's stuff out there for them. But anyway, look.
Just for anyone who's listening, I am absolutely not a Apple fanboy. I used to think that Android was fantastic, but yeah, unfortunately, they're following them down the dark path.
Yeah, look, I mean, I I personally go Apple because of the security, right? It's just that extra layer of security. But Androids are fantastic. They're great devices. They're affordable. You can do a lot with them. Like you can start messing around with it and make your own stuff if you're that way inclined. They're amazing for learning. They really, really are. But for security, in my opinion, Apple. But hey, Samsung and all those guys, they've got some cool stuff, like Knox, and they've got those lovely little silo stuff and all that jazz. So you can do things. But again, as we talked about last week, with Intune, you'd never safe. Nothing's impenetrable. These guys will get it, find a way and get in. But Apple are actively doing it. Google are pretty good as well. The only problem with Android is because there's so many iterations of it and so many different versions of phones and that sort of stuff, unless you're using one of the top brands like Google and Samsung and that sort of stuff, you're going to wait a while before they update it, Not necessarily, but that's the risk. Anyway, rant over. That is my lovely news. Woo, Mike, on to you.
That was some awesome news. I think they should change that mode from lockdown mode to productivity mode. It sounds like, really focus you in.
That's so true. I bet you like Snapchat and TikTok and all that sort of stuff won't work.
Yeah. Okay, so I couldn't pick one that I really liked, so I sort of I've picked a few smaller ones and jam them mostly together. So let me start by painting a picture, bringing you on a visual, auditory, hallucination.
Ooh, I like this. Hang on, let me just turn down the volume on this one because I'm getting scared. Let's make it more. Go for it. Yeah.
We need to have some mood music.
Exactly.
No, okay.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to do that at post-edit. No, sorry. No, go.
Right. Let's pretend you're in the supermarket, Rob. You're going around, you're getting some stuff. There's a really big, bulky item. You need some help moving it. And one of the people looking like a shop assistant comes over, helps you pick it up, put it in your trolley. Or someone is handing out the freebie samples and going, did you like that? Well, here's a voucher code that you can use to get money off as you go to the till. That's all nice and helpful, isn't it?
It's lovely. Yeah. I'm like, I'm feeling warm and fuzzy and I want to go back for another sample.
Yeah. Okay. So you go back, you get another sample, you get another code, and and they tell you they've got a voucher code for something else as well that they don't even sell, and you go, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for this.
This is awesome.
And then they tell you they can find you the cheapest cinema tickets in the county and all this sort of stuff. And
dude, I like the shop. Where do I go?
This is good, and you're really really happy, and you're finding everything in the one place. This is brilliant. But then you decide you need to do a little bit of banking business, and you wander into the bank, and you're talking to the person about your bills and payments and all that, and you look over in your shoulder, and there's the person who's helping you, giving you the voucher codes and everything like that, and they're just like, "Don't mind me, I'm just here to assist. I'm not paying attention to this because it's nothing to do with me, but I'm just here."
How very helpful.
You might feel a little bit uncomfortable, would you?
I mean, yeah, personal space might be an issue, especially if they're kind of like hovering over the shoulder. Yeah, I think if they came into the bank with me, I'd be a bit nervous about that. And now, obviously, no offense here to your story. It's a great story, but I'm a paranoid person. So if someone goes, "Here's a voucher," I'll be like, piss off. So, but anyway, carry on.
Yeah, you would, but you know, so this is an allegory for browser extensions that you can get. They are really helpful. There's so many of them that promise to find you the best price. They promise to tell you what Amazon has done with their pricing when it comes up to sales. They're offering to help you out, and it's free, and there's no obligation. A number of reports have come out recently, like these are excuse me, these are studies and everything like that as well. And this has come up before. Some people will be saying, "Oh, I remember hearing about that before." The problem is it's reoccurring. More people get not hoodwinked, but they get they get convinced to install these browser extensions.
Of course, yeah, and a mate of a mate might have it, that sort of stuff, right?
Exactly, and they sound really good.
Yeah.
But, in recent investigations, we're talking about 300 malicious Chrome extensions. Now, other extensions exist, but as you say, some of them are easier to get your stuff on the store, and some of them would be more locked down. But 300 Chrome extensions. So I believe that means, because they're Chromium based, that means they can work on Edge.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Edge,
yeah. Well, if they,
Brave,
yeah,
you
that
know.
that is a bit funny. Like,
Chromium.
yeah, sometimes even though they're Chromium based, they won't work. They won't work on some browsers.
Yeah,
But yeah. Anyway, carry on.
it depends on a few things, but uh, that affected 37 million users. Okay, and they were actively, like, this wasn't just adware. This was actively collecting and leaking user data. Okay, sending information to external servers.
Jesus, yeah.
But you might even be thinking, okay, well, fine, if you get dodgy Mike's browser extension of the minute today, you kind of deserve it. But in another case, 35 legitimate uh, extensions that already had millions of users using them had malicious updates pushed to them.
That's like
Okay?
supply chain attack, or were these
Yeah.
browser extensions in trouble? So, Mike, do you want to explain what a supply chain attack there is briefly? I know we've gone into it before, but for first time listeners, just
Yeah,
briefly jump into it.
absolutely. So supply chain attack is literally that. It's attacking the supply chain. It can be both physical or logical. So there was loads of reports there years ago about Cisco devices that were being sent out to other places that may not have been friendly with the United States at the time. And they were, during shipment, they were taken to a warehouse of a three-letter agency where malicious hardware and software was put onto these, and
That
then
was
they
a
were,
funny one.
you know,
They even
it
had
was,
the boxes and tape and everything. It was looked
yeah,
exactly the same. How did they
it
get
was,
caught in the end? If you remember, I thought it was that someone accidentally walked in on them or something like that. It was like a spare room in the airport or something, and someone walked in and was like, "What are you doing?" Was that, or did it just come out? I can't
I
remember.
don't remember that. No, I thought it was more that it was sort of discovered logically.
Okay.
I but I tell you what, we'll have that for next week, or
Yeah,
put it
that's
up.
true, because that's such a funny story.
Mm.
It's like, oh
Um,
my gosh. Anyway,
But
carry on. Sorry.
the same thing has been done with software. There was a one just there a couple of weeks ago. Well, sorry, it came to light a couple of weeks ago, months ago. But happened last year, between dates, doesn't matter. It was Notepad++. Their
Yes,
web
that's a big
host,
one.
was hacked, and the software download was replaced with a malicious file. So anyone who went to the authentic Notepad++, not anyone. They were filtering for prime targets. We won't go too far astray on that,
Yeah, we're
but
kind of digressing as well.
not only did it infect the actual download that you could go and get, but it impacted the automatic downloads, the updates. So if somebody had the original and good copy on their machine, it would go off and download this malicious. Yeah,
Nice.
so
So
that's what happens on the supply chain attack.
that's cool. So these browser extension attacks, these are out and about. As you said, there's millions and millions and millions of them, tens of millions, and they're. How do you protect yourself? Like, what do you do? Like, I mean, because these extensions, some of them are really useful and really good, right? Like, I mean,
So
ad block. I hate ads and stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, I
yeah,
love ads in our show. Ads are going to be great. Ads are brilliant.
and this week's sponsor is
yeah.
Button Mouth.
Yeah. Oh, dude, they're long time sponsors. So carry on though. Yeah, how do you protect from this?
How do you protect? Well, again, making sure that you're downloading trusted things. But as I just said, 35 of them were legitimate. So
Yeah.
you need to look at what you're putting on your machine, and that's why I kind of made it the allegory I did with you, Rob. While other people in a supermarket might be quite happy to take voucher codes from other people and wander around, you need to make sure that you're then also going and bringing it somewhere else, bringing that extension with you. So think of it as a person following you. So, like, not everyone can afford to do it or wants to do it, but certainly having a separate device that you do your banking on is one thing. If you've got not an older laptop, but a laptop that doesn't see much use, that's up to date and everything like that, that you just use for your banking and secure activities, that's one thing you can do.
Yeah. Yep.
Or you could try using different browsers. You still need to be careful because, a breach on one can affect the underlying
Yeah,
operating
if they're on your
system.
device, right? Yeah.
You can disable extensions when you're not actively using them, but again, if they're malicious, they may or may not behave as expected. Again, it's sometimes it's a bit like the IT crowd. Jen, if your computer was a human, I'd shoot it in the face.
Yeah, it's very true. Look, I mean, the other thing you can do is to protect your banking and stuff. There is software with antiviruses. They offer vaults and that sort of stuff where it takes you into almost like a sandbox. Sandbox by that many is very, very much what it's talking about. It's a playground that's safe. It's hidden away and locked away, so it's isolated. So Bitdefender offer this for if they see you, if you have the Bitdefender add-on for your browser add-on. But if you have that, it can detect that you are on a banking site or you're entering credit card details and that sort of stuff, and it can take you into a secure pay system where it isolates so nothing can jump into it, and it will do that. So there are tools out there to protect you. So if you don't want to have a second device, Bitdefender, even just coming with the subscription that you have for your antivirus, it will give you that with the web protection. So it offers that. So definitely look into that. As I said, we can dive into that later and that sort of stuff in another episode, like how to protect your banking and securely, surf the web, and how to spot malicious things. Like, they're going back to old school ways now with the Microsoft, where it's like, what is it, R and N together, so it looks like Microsoft. It's like, yeah, sure.
that came out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even me, I think someone commented on this one, and they were like, dude, on this Monday morning, the way I am, without my coffee, I totally would have clicked that link. And I'm like, do you know what? I probably would have too. And I mean, I'm paranoid. And it's just like, you get tired and you're human. It's the way it works. So anyway, we'll go into that another one. But thank you, Mike. Is there any more before I jump us into the next section?
Just very quickly, again, like literally, it's as though you were reading my script. He's not reading my script.
Am I? See that blinking light above you?
You're not talking nicely enough about me to be reading my script. And now back to the beautiful Michael. No, you just said you might possibly click that. Okay. One of the stories is there is a security company called Aura. They are an identity theft protection company.
Yeah.
And one of their users clicked on a phishing link and exposed over 900,000 records. Now, these records were only names, addresses, and email addresses.
So that's called PII, by the way, and that is a breach. What is it? Personally identifiable information. Woo! Yep. You in trouble?
It didn't have the social security numbers or passwords or anything like that, because that's all encrypted. And it wasn't really their fault, because while they had all this information unsecured and unencrypted, it was only because they bought another company 5 years ago.
Oh, so, look, I mean, it's not their fault at all, man. That's completely understandable.
It takes a while to run, an encryption on things.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if it's like my garage, I can understand. It's like, I'll get onto that later. But yeah, look, anyway, carry on, dude.
And the honorable mention of this week has to be Kash Patel, the FBI director. Someone who should understand a little bit about SecOps, or even if he doesn't, should have somebody to understand it for him, had his personal email hacked. Now, we don't laugh at personal attacks or anything like this. We're totally non-political, but do better, people.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's hilarious, and we love laughing at it, especially when you see him in the news chugging beer with the hockey players and stuff, and then he gets his Gmail hacked. But in all honesty, that was possibly a targeted campaign. I really hope it wasn't just click this link. I really, really, really hope that was a bit more sophisticated and they did all these, oh my gosh, 2 people typing on the keyboard at once. Sorry, that's an in-joke with Mike and myself.
Let me switch off the monitor.
Yeah. So Mike and I have this in-joke about, it was a CSI, wasn't it? Where this guy we're getting hacked right now. And he's like, I'm protecting. And then this other guy comes along and starts typing with him on the keyboard. I'll help. It's like, yeah, that's going to help.
And then the boss walks in and switches off the monitor because turning off the monitor on the computer makes the bad guys go away. Oh no, I can't see your computer anymore.
Yeah, I really hope that wasn't his security.
I'm thinking it might be.
We'll see. Look, we're going to get the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, exactly. All right, so now we're going over. So we're going to have to. This is probably going to be a longer episode. But anyway, the next up is the key thing. What everyone's come here for, what everyone wants. It's sort of rocky. I can't even do it. I should just leave. Anyway, It is Hack the Box versus TryHackMe. So, Mike, tell us all
the big
about
heavy
yours.
hitters. Yeah, you get to hear from me again because I'm so awesome and people like my dulcet tones.
This is what I hear.
Coming to you from my computer. Wow. Big wow. Right. Okay.
Yeah, suddenly I'm just going to mute Mike.
And then Mike had to go back to his island and then crashed into a volcano.
All right, so go on, Bo. Take us through it. So we're not going to go into sharing screens and stuff like that because Mike and I talked about this, and yes, we totally could, and we could show you guys the walkthrough, but there are so many out there on YouTube. We're just literally reinventing the wheel. It is a waste of our time. It's a waste of yours as the viewers and listeners. If you're interested in walkthroughs and video guides and that sort of stuff, jump on YouTube. If you want, we can do recommendations of that sort of stuff, but there are just literally thousands of them out there. There's no shortage. There's no shortage. So we're just going to talk about the pros and cons of them, what they offer, the experience from a noob, effectively. So someone who's never hacked before, anyone who doesn't understand how these platforms help you understand this technology and hacking and cybersecurity. Because as you're here for this reason, you're listening to us because you don't fully understand. If you're really techie, you're just probably here to laugh at us. So.
Yeah.
So go, Mike.
Not with us, at us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go for it, Mike. Go on.
Okay, cool. So I picked Hack the Box as my to champion because it's so much better than TryHackMe. Screw you, Rob.
Sure.
Fight me.
Yeah. We'll see. Okay. Carry on. So.
Now, okay. Look, to be honest with you, they are both good, but I am gonna focus just on the TryHack. On Hack the Box. Now, when you first approach Hack the Box, you'll notice that there are multiple kind of facets to it. You have Hack the Box Academy, which does some instructional things, and there's Hack the Box Labs, which gives you access to boxes. Now, on the free plan, and you kind of need to dig into it yourself to familiarize yourself with all the ins and outs. But on the free plans for both of those, you have cubes that you can use, like there are boxes from Hack the Box. You have those cubes, and you can use those to buy another course. So you can't sign up to say 10 different courses all at the same time on the Academy and go through them, sort of jumping back and forth. You need to go through it so you'll have your cubes and you buy a course, and as you go through it, you then earn more cubes. So you can do them sequentially. You can't do them concurrently.
That's pretty cool. So the cubes are like they're gamifying it. Really, it's like they're giving you the in-app currency.
To an extent, yeah, but they're also kind of making you focus and not like you'll cover
shiny, yeah.
Yeah, you'll cover and TryHackMe. There's a bit more that you can you can sign up to multiple free lesson plans, whereas this you have to kind of make your choice, and then you have to wait for your cubes to refill.
And you can speed it up by doing them, right? Completing them, and then you get more cubes.
Exactly.
Et cetera.
Yeah. So you can do that. So. The main thing you need to know when you go on either of these platforms is that at the start you are going to be researching the crap out of everything. Okay, if you are not interested in doing your own research, and I don't mean that in a political way, if you are not interested in doing your own research into A, the tools, B, what you are attacking, and F, why you're attacking them, you're not going to pass this. There isn't any courses out there that will take you step by step, hold you by the hand, and give you every little thing that you need to pass. And if they do, you would be one of the worst cybersecurity analysts out there, because you're never going to find exactly the same scenario out in the real world. Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
exactly
you
true.
need to, yeah, you need to be able to do what's called pivoting a lot. And as one of the things you'll find in a lot of the boxes that you start going in, especially as they get further and further complicated and harder to actually get into, sometimes they will give you what you know is a vulnerable uh, configuration. Like, for instance, on Hack the Box, the one of the easiest boxes is called lame, and when
Mm.
you get onto lame, it has VS FTPD. It's a file transfer protocol application, and the version they give you is vulnerable. And if you just go after that, if you laser lock in, focus on that, and start hammering away at that, you can spend hours and you won't get anywhere, because they have made changes in the background to prevent it from actually being vulnerable.
Mm.
And what they've done is they've put in a Samba file sharing uh, exploit, or vulnerable version, and you go after that. Now, if you get stuck into the false path,
You go
the
down the
rabbit.
rabbit hole, yeah. Which, seriously, as a previous pen tester, I can tell you, you do all the time. You're like, oh, this is it. I'm gonna get it. You have to know when to quit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's so easy to have a look, and you see you might get 5 or 6 results back, and
So
you go, "Oh, let's see, this, no, this, oh, this," and suddenly, before you read the rest of them, you go in and you just dive into it, and you're attacking. And if you do that on lame, right, again, you could spend hours, days, weeks. You might be able to use that vulnerability if you're really good. I don't know, but had you just stopped and gone on to the Samba
yeah.
one, you crack it in 5 minutes less.
So that's enumeration right there. So I mean, the key point, and you'll learn all this as you're going through this, listeners and viewers, is there's when you start hacking, the first thing you've got to do is you need to know your target, and the biggest thing there is it's running a thing called Nmap, which I'm sure, Mike, if I'm stealing your thunder, I'll take you through that and try it in my one. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, again, um, if you are interested in doing Hack the Box, one of the best people I've seen for walkthroughs and write-ups and that is a guy called IPSEC, IPPSEC. I believe he now works for Hack the Box, but when he first started, he didn't. And he was pretty much self-taught. He is really good. And the very first thing he does nearly every video, it's his mantra, it's his entry is, and of course we do Nmap -SC -SV -OA IP -VVV. Right.
So listeners, you're probably going, what? But
So
anyway,
Nmap run command. SC is
it's anyway. We don't need to go too deep into those. I think the
okay.
SVC, isn't it? It's where it's looking for the vulnerabilities.
SC,
It's going to
right.
list the vulnerabilities. Yeah. So let's not go too deep into Nmap, because
Okay.
we could be here for hours. Like, we can take some, like, we can do a deeper dive into the tools at a later time. But Nmap is a fantastic hacking tool, and those what Mike's talking about at the end there, they're called switches. So they're add-ons to do it. So if you just do Nmap on its own, it'll run off and do a basic scan, bring you back nothing. But what he's doing there, what he's talking about there, is these little things that you add on that combines it and makes it do very, very targeted or wider scans, depending on what you want.
Yeah, and there's any number of those switches. So again,
Mm.
you need to figure out what you need and what you're running,
And
because
that goes back to your original thing there of research. You need to understand the tools you're using.
you do. And again, that's That could be very good on Hack the Box in the Academy because you can get, you can get led through by the hand on some of those things. And again, when I say you're led through by the hand, you're being instructed on the tools and how to use them. But, you need to have your own sense of curiosity and you need to decide when to use the right tool. For instance, on a standard box, you would just run the command that I gave you, the Nmap one, right? And that will cover 90% of things. But that won't bring back your UDP commands. Now, I'm not going into it too deep, Rob, but
yeah, because I'm going to have to cut you off.
Any of you who are interested in it would need to go and say, why doesn't it work on UDP and what the difference is, okay? And if you don't get that, it's your own fault.
We'll go on to TCP versus UDP later.
Now, TryHackMe does this as standard. I believe Hack the Box only does it on the premium. It's where when you're doing a box, you have oh God, what's the term? Let me just get the term again. It is guided mode. They have guided mode. And it's not where they're telling you what to do, but they're asking you questions in such a way that you have to go, let's see, how do I get that information? So for instance, on LAME, one of the first questions they ask is, what 4 ports are opened? So you have to do that. And then it says, and what version is this? And why is this? And it prompts you gently to do it.
Yes, it's encouraging you, which is cool.
It's encouraging you without kind of giving you the answer. But again, as you're starting off, play through some of the easy machines, get their walkthroughs, but don't just do the walkthrough. Like, it's great when you get on and you go, oh, look, I can do this and I can do this and yay, I'm in, woo. It's wonderful. You get a great little buzz and everything like that. But if you don't understand what you did, then you can't apply it somewhere else and you won't know when you need to apply it. So research. Oh, and get good at documentation.
That's the key. Yep. Okay. So that was awesome, man. That's I'm going to go off and do Hack the Box now. Screw TryHackMe. All right. So TryHackMe, that was the one I chose. It is TryHackMe is very, very similar to Hack the Box, right? So exactly what Mike was saying. When you sign up, the sign up process is pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go not so much into the detail of the boxes. I'm going to go more into the experience from you as a user. So when you sign into it, very straightforward. Ask for user password, username, password's got to be strict, all that sort of stuff. Set up 2-factor, guys, every which way you can. Do that wherever you can. Then once you've verified your email and done all that, yay, I'm not a bot. It asks you a bunch of questions, and this is kind of cool, right? It asks you straight off the bat what your experience is, and the whole point of that is it goes, okay, I'm going to channel you down this learning path, or we're going to skip ahead because you know your shit already. All right. So I took the approach of being utter nobody. I know nothing. So, probably true. I was like, I know nothing. I don't know anything.
Oh, my joke. I was going to get you on that one.
Yeah. Needed to steal your thunder. So I got my notes here. So I love writing notes. It's So anyway, so what it does is it will take you through all this sort of stuff, and it'll ask you the sort of the what level you are and all that jazz. And the great thing is it does what's called a learning roadmap. I've got it in front of me now, and it starts off with for me, I just went straight up. I know nothing, but I want to get into hacking, right? I want to learn. So it goes, great. Okay. You're going to start at the very, very basic, which is the computer science basics. Okay. So it makes you do this thing called pre-security. So you enroll in this path, and you can skip it. You can jump out, you can go look, and you can skip ahead and all that sort of stuff. But I would recommend follow their path, their roadmap. Just go through it exactly like Mike was saying, where it's kind of like the guided stuff. What this is doing, it's going to give you the foundational knowledge of what this stuff is. So inside these paths, I've just clicked into it now, it has introduction to cybersecurity, which is going to bring you down the network fundamentals, how the web works, computer fundamentals, OS basics, operating system. So what they are. If you've never touched Linux before in your life, well, Mike and I talked about this last week, you're going to need to know it. You really, really are. And this is going to take you through that. It's going to give you the basics of Windows basics, Linux command line basics, Windows command line basics, and simple security. Okay, it's going to take you all this. Then it's going to go into software, because so much of hacking is not about the operating system. It's about hitting vulnerable software on machines. You would be surprised how many hacks happen because some person did not do validation checks in their SQL databases. So you can put whatever you want. That is called SQL injection. So if you're not checking, by validation checks, what I'm meaning is input validation. So when in databases, the way they work is you put your data in, you go, my name's Rob, and it picks it up and goes, cool, Rob, I'm creating an account for you. And it goes off and does stuff based on that information, right? But if it's not validating that, you could go drop table in there, and it goes
little Bobby drop tables.
Yeah, it just kills everything. There's loads of stuff you can do. So it's going to take you through the software basics, and then it's going to take you through attacks and defenses and blah 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 blah. And this is all in the very, very first module. Okay, that's straight off the bat. Before you get into hacking, it's going to give you this foundational knowledge. It's going to go, okay, cool. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to know. And then it's going to jump to the next one. Very, very similar to what Mike was talking about there, where you get the credits and stuff. They just do it straight off. It's like, boom, here you go. But you go sequentially. But you can bypass all this and jump straight into hacking if you want. And they've listed the boxes, and they've got like beginner, medium, high, it's all that crap, goes, hey, you're a complete noob, I'm going to take you through it. And then the next one is like, hey, go hard, good luck. So they have all these massive boxes, and they are free, kinda. Okay. So
Kinda.
So you don't get dedicated boxes. So if you pay for it, you get what's called dedicated boxes. It's just you working on them, right? You're not messing around with anyone else coming in there. They're not going to piss around with your stuff. You're not on a shared network and all that sort of stuff. For free, you also get we talked about this a minute ago. You get these boxes, right, with attack boxes. So you don't have to have a lab. Now, Mike and I talked about this. Next week, we're going to go into how to build your own lab, because that's really important, okay? Because what you get with the free tier of these is, yes, they give you a box. You don't have to have your own lab, but they only give you 1 hour a day, okay? And as a hacker, I can tell you straight off the bat, 1 hour ain't enough. Not when you're starting out.
I don't know. You might be able to start up the box and, do one single Nmap scan, and then you're
Yeah. So, Nmap takes so long. Like hacking, a lot of people have this belief that, oh man, I'm going to be in there and hack this in seconds. It's like, no. Yeah. Once you have what you're going to do, that's true. That is fast. But the majority of it is called the enumeration phase. That takes so long. The footprinting, enumeration, all this sort of stuff. So what you're doing is you're scanning your target. You're getting an understanding of it, right? You're understanding what ports are open, what you can do, what's behind those ports. Okay, we're going too deep here, but all of this you'll understand when you start going down this path. You need to have a wide view. And before you can even do that wide view, you have to know the concepts of IT. You just have to. If you want to be a hacker, you can't have this narrow lens. You have to have a big, broad, general understanding. You don't have to be an expert. A lot of people think, oh my God, you have to be an expert in everything. No. It helps if you're an expert in certain fields, because that's what you'll be very good at, right? So my background is networking.
A good memory will nearly defeat expertism.
Exactly. So what you're doing when you're hacking, and TryHackMe and Hack the Box as well, they do this. They're pretty good at this. They kind of teach you repetition, precision. Okay, so this is with hacking. You've got to take your time. You can't rush. You might miss, because you're so eager, you might miss the one clue that would get you in that box, and then you have to go back and find it. Documentation, as Mike said, everyone hates documentation, but it is the key, especially if you become a pen tester or do this, for a living. You must document as you go, because trying to remember what you did 6 hours ago, oh my God, it's not going to work for you. And then you have to go back and replicate it all. You just waste your time.
At times 6 minutes ago,
Exactly.
You're doing a lot, you're pivoting, and, the last thing you want, now, look, you're not allowed to listen to our show if you're going to be a malicious hacker.
Yeah, if you're going to be a dick, piss off, basically.
Yeah. If you were planning on becoming a pen tester, you don't want to find a wonderful exploit and manage to get through it on customer A's site, and then a week later go to customer B's site and go, how did I do that again? You want to be able to you want to be able to show that, yes, you're vulnerable to this, so that the customer can fix it. But then you also want to spend the rest of your time finding other vulnerabilities. You want to make sure that your customer is as protected as can be. And as Rob says, the hack is a single little line. It's the preparation coming up to it. Think of it like a wedding, right? It takes 30 seconds to say "I do" and ruin your life. I mean,
you're going to get a slap.
You can tell my wife is out of the house.
Yeah.
It takes 30 seconds to say "I do," but think of all the planning that went into getting you to where you could say "I do," and that's what it's like in hacking. You have to go off. You have to do all your scans. You have to. You can't just sit there and just suddenly know that this service is vulnerable. You have to stay abreast of current affairs as well.
So the other thing, and this is one of the things that TryHackMe and HackTheBox probably don't go into, right? And this is the one real world versus academia that you're probably missing out on, is when you do hack these things, when you do your enumeration, right? I haven't, well, I suppose you probably would if you do it, but they don't really tell you in the walkthroughs. I'm probably lying here. They probably do in some of them. But I've had it, where I'm going with this is I've had it in sites where I've found things, devices, IoT devices and stuff like that. And I've gone, do you know what? This has got a web front end, which means you can log in. I'm like, I wonder what the default password of this is. So you Google it. You Google the manufacturer of it and you look up the manual. And that is so much of hacking is you're reading manuals. So you understand it. And you go, okay, admin, right? Let's just say admin. Oh, I'm in. Because they forgot to change the default password. And that's just saved you so much time because suddenly you're behind the scenes, And that's one of the things with hacking. But look, we're digressing too much here and we are running out of time. So I want to just finish up on TryHackMe. Okay. So TryHackMe, I think, from a new point of view or someone who doesn't know what they're doing is fantastic. It gamifies the system. The walkthroughs are just as similar to HackTheBox with Mike. They don't hold your hand as much unless you're in the premium stuff, as Mike was saying. But the paid content is not that expensive. It's worth it if you really, really want to. But we're going to talk about that in a second. But I think both of these boxes, like I know that we were kind of toting this as a bit of a competition, but personally, for me, I've used both in the past. I prefer HackTheBox. I like the way it's presented. I like the way they do it. TryHackMe uses Kali and HackTheBox uses Parrot, isn't it? Or is it the other way around? I always forget.
Other way around.
Other way around. Sorry, yeah. So TryHackMe uses Parrot and HackTheBox uses Kali.
TryHackMe uses Kali.
Whatever. Anyway, one of them uses Kali, one of them uses Parrot. I always get confused. Basically, the same thing. Okay, so Kali and Parrot are penetration testing operating systems. Okay, so Kali is the gold standard. It's the one that most people use. It's very, very, very good. And if you are wanting to get into this, learn Kali. And when we go into the labs, we'll take you through both of them. But Kali is the one that I would recommend. But Parrot is fun, and knowing that is fun because it has different ways of doing things, different interactions and stuff. But it's still got similar, if not all, the same tools. And they're both a bit of fun to play with. But these guys give you that for free. As I said, they give you an hour each day, which is nothing. It's really there as a teaser and a taster because nothing's for free, right? They are giving this to where hey man, first hit's free. After that, you got to pay. It's like you go, oh man, as you get advanced, the boxes are so much harder and you need longer time. So you can either pay if you don't want to set up your own lab, or you have to set up your own lab, which we're going to recommend and bring you through. So if you are serious about this, go and test it out. Play with some of these boxes, go through the training materials of both of them and have a play with their 1 hour lab, just get a taste. And then if you really like it, set up your own lab. You don't have to pay because you can do what's called a VPN with your own lab and you have unlimited time. It's just your bandwidth and the area you're in isn't great and you don't get access to all the cool toys inside these ones where you pay. And
you'll also possibly want to set up your own box anyway, even if you do pay for unlimited access, because
so you can reuse your tools.
You can reuse your tools. You can customize it. You can make it look pretty. You can reshuffle things, stuff.
You can automate all this sort of stuff, so speed things up. We'll go into that in the next episode because we really are going over on this one. I'm sorry, and that's my fault because we got excited about lots of stuff at the beginning, but. Okay, we're on to our last one. It is not really a fluff piece, but it's really in line with what we've been talking about, and it's really funny. So, Mike, this was yours. You found this. You told me about it, and I didn't even know about it.
So
go for it, Mike. Go on.
If you had asked me 2 or 3 weeks ago, TryHackMe, HackTheBox, which one? I possibly would have said, after giving you the pros and cons of both, to my experience, I would have said, get a coin. Toss it.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same. Unfortunately, TryHackMe Now, I'm not saying the Hack the Box aren't doing this, but they're not publicly doing this. So
Yeah, they probably are doing it.
we're saying Hack the Box or TryHackMe at the minute. TryHackMe, the founder of, came out and basically has released an AI hacking agent tool. And
Not for
while that
malicious use. This is for
N
good.
yes.
Yeah.
You're only
Carry on.
allowed to put out domains you own.
Hmm. Carry on.
I swear, Your Honor, I own this domain.
I do now,
But
anyway.
now, look, it's one of those. This is one of those things that AI seems to be pervading absolutely everything. We're not here to discuss that, right?
No.
It's an AI agent that is basically doing what pen testers are doing. Now, you're not going to replace an AI or a pen tester with AI. They can be useful, they can be tools. What makes this and has really pissed off the community is that if you have a TryHackMe account, you are basically training this AI model. And they've turned around and said that if you want to opt out, you're allowed to opt out of this training, but we don't have the framework in place at the moment, so opting out is deleting your account. And what really irks a lot of people is that in January they came out with this super awesome deal. Sign up early, get more money off. So a lot of people are kind of
Of
locked
course,
in.
yeah.
I'm locked in. Now I could delete it and get rid of it, but you know what? I'm going to go on and I'm going to try hack me how to be really, really bad at hacking.
So look, I mean, this is not new, right? Like all these things out there when they're like, hey, chat GPT, all of these things, use it. You're training it when you're doing it for free. Ain't nothing for free. We talked about this, right?
Yep.
So I guess like my question on that, I can understand why some hackers are like, no, I don't want to, but it's like, you got to remember these things. Like if you're in TryHackMe, now I said this to you, Mike, when we talked about this offline, and I kind of agree with what you're saying, but I kind of also look at it like they're the minority. Is if you're on TryHackMe, chances are you don't know what you're doing. You're learning as you go. You're getting better and you're getting good and you're having fun. And don't get me wrong, probably most of the users are better than I am, but it's still it's a platform to learn. So why do you care
It is.
if
It
you're
is.
training their AI?
But back to the gamification of it, there
Hmm.
is there are certainly on Hack the Box there are weekly kind of
Yeah, of
challenges.
course. Yeah. And you win prizes as well, which is kind of cool.
And you can win prizes, and if you are the first person to get the user text file, like this is to prove that you've hacked it, you get the user one and you get the root one,
Yeah.
and if you do that you get first blood on user and first blood system and all this.
Yeah.
So your name stays with that box forever as the first person to break into it. You've also got leaderboards, that people have been hacking for years and they just stay there. You've got your hack streaks. So you've been, you've done 30 points worth of hacking
Yeah.
per week, stuff like that. So you will have people who are keeping their hands in. You've also got the like of, the IPSEC. Now he works for them, but he will do boxes as they're being released.
Of course,
Uh,
yeah.
Tom Hammond, he's quite a famous
Yeah.
person. He works for Huntress now, but he has quite a lot of videos that he does. So you have quite a lot of people who will be using this, who are quite experienced, and it's the main part is that you're now being forced to train
Yeah. And I suppose
for replacement,
it is
basically.
it's a
You know?
good point as well what you were saying there about how you got these serious hackers as I mentioned, there will be the top tier and the mid tier as well. These are very, very, very experienced good hackers out there. I guess the question for them is to use this platform, they're probably using their own custom built attacks, right? So they're using their own labs and that sort of stuff, and they're building their own attacks that they're making themselves, right? So you don't have to rely on Kali or things like that to attack these boxes. Ideally, you'd write your own, right? Ways of getting around and busting out a PowerShell and all this sort of stuff that you would come up with yourself. And you may not want other members of the community to know about it because it's your proprietary information which you use in your company. I can see what you're saying. But if you're using that in a TryHackMe environment and that is your precious, I just got to question why you're doing that. It's like, hey, if you don't want people to know about what you're doing, then don't put it in a public service. Yes, you're paying for it,
absolutely,
but
absolutely, yeah. But again, there are some people out there who are genius enough to be able to write
oh
machine
my God,
code
they're amazing.
on
Yeah.
napkin, but then they also wouldn't think. But no, I'm connecting over a VPN, so it's fine. No,
Yeah,
you're
I
connecting
really
over
hope.
somebody else's
Yeah,
VPN.
I really, really hope that the people at that level have better
But
understanding of
no,
VPNs.
some of them, honest to God, wouldn't have they're
The thought would never
doctorate
cross the
level
mind. Yeah, yeah,
people,
yeah.
but they don't, they almost have blinkers on,
Mm.
you know.
Well,
Um,
that's kind
yeah,
of cool.
it's
So
not
I guess,
educate us, you
yeah, I
know.
guess, I mean, yeah, I guess this is a fascinating debate, isn't it? And it's kind of like, well, because this is not just in TryHackMe, this is happening everywhere. You are
Oh, it's
training AI.
happening in everything. You can't type a text message now
Mm.
without AI coming out and asking. Like, I'm just. We've already covered the toilet that
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
scan.
yeah.
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 So.
Cool. Well, look, okay, we've gone way over, people. We're now hit the hour mark. Well, once it edits, it'll be just under. So, yeah, because we had a little blip. But that's cool. Anyway, Mike, you got it. You got any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, I'm gonna Rob's line. Don't click the link.
You bastard. That was mine. No. Look, thank you everyone for listening. Really appreciate it as always. We will be back next week where we're going to take you through setting up your own lab, and we're going to have some news that's out there. Not next week, sorry, 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. Ooh, that was close. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to commit to this. So yeah, in a couple of weeks' time, we'll do that, and we'll come up with the latest news. We can go into other stuff that's happened and exciting things. If you want us to go over anything, info@cybersense.cloud. Hit us up. Otherwise, as usual, don't click the link. Mike, I got to say it.
Yay!
Yeah. Cheers, everyone. See you. Bye.
Curious about the digital world? Want to know how to stay safe online? Tune in to CyberSense, where we explore the latest tech trends and cybersecurity tips.